our report will be presented in English, as we also made our article in English. So we would like to speak about possible ways of interaction between different sustainable goals, especially SDG7 and SDG13. So we would like to make and to see the interconnections between problems of energy and problems of saving our climate change. I hope that our colleagues know a lot about SDGs, so we do not want to pay much attention. So just to mention that we have 17 SDGs for our 15 years, so it's like a big marathon, but we already reached 5 years, so it's like 1/3 of the whole period. And today, so we would like to analyze information, what we have and what we really achieved. Because if we look to the program of sustainable development goals, we see that everybody has speak about interactions between, you know, poverty, between energy, between climate change, biodiversity, but we should pay much attention what really states do and will do in this sphere. And just to understand what they do, we decided to look to different documents. That really helps us to understand what is really now the picture in this sphere. So we analyzed national determined contributions, so-called NDC, which should be prepared in framework of Paris Agreement, just to see what states do in sphere of alternative energy in collaboration with climate change. Secondly, we would like to see the activity of Green Climate Fund, then activity of World Intellectual Property Organization, also to see annual United Nations Secretary General report concerning SDG, and also in the end, pay attention to the activity of the dispute settlement body of WTO, because this sphere is really very important. And this here we can see the problems of interaction between international environmental law, international climate change law, and especially international economic law, because, you know, WTO is really a very important actor in this sphere. As if we look to the trends, if we look to the reports of states concerning the SDG, we see that here we see the pictures of really big interlinkages and integrated nature of different sustainable development goals. Here on the slide, you may see also some examples, for example, concerning interaction between energy goal, yes, and poverty goal, and right to health, etc., etc. But however, we would like to mention that renewable energy sources play more significant role in reducing greenhouse gas emission and thus mitigating the effect of climate change. So firstly, we look to the NDC, National Determined Contributions, which should be prepared in framework of Paris Agreement. So it's really a huge amount of documents, but in this sphere, it was really helpful to see the report of International Renewable Energy Agency, which has undertaken an analysis of current national NDC. So according to the statistics of International Renewable Energy Agency, they count 152 NDC. So some of them, so nearly 3/4, so 111 site-specific renewable energy targets, while another 43 acknowledge renewables as an important way to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and adapt to climate change impact. Secondly, if we look also to NDC, that majority of NDC include renewable energy targets only for electricity generation. 14 countries also include targets for the production of liquid biofuels. 11 states call for advancement of biogas, and only 8 states include the development of solar water heat. So it's we would like to mention that it's not a really big achievement in this sphere. So we really need to contribute more in this sphere. Also, in time of COVID, it could be not so easy. Then if we look to the activity of Secretary General, yes, Antonio Guterres, he also in his speeches make notes concerning interaction. So between climate change and energy problem. For example, he mentioned this year in his statement 6 climate positive actions and 4 of them concerning energy. Yes, we will see, for example, here green transition from fuels, from fossil fuels, green economy, green jobs, and investment in sustainable solutions. So according to this statement, we also see the big interactions between climate change and energy. And as I mentioned before, we would like to see also the activity of a Green Climate Fund. We, unfortunately, everybody knows that USA left not only Paris Agreement, but also Green Climate Fund. So in my opinion, it's really a big problem, even more than to leave a Paris Agreement, but we hope that new president of USA will return, and it was in his speech. He mentioned that he would like to return to Paris Agreement and to World Health Organization. So Green Climate Fund is really very important in this sphere. If we look at the activity of Green Climate Fund, he really did do and will do a lot in this sphere concerning Sustainable Development Goals 7, energy, yes, in connection with climate change on this slide. And next slide, also you see that also Kazakhstan was participated in this sphere, yes, and Green Climate Fund and European Bank for Reconstruction and Development provided funding project for Kazakhstan renewable framework in year 2017 for a period of 5 years, supporting the construction of renewable energy projects in Kazakhstan. So, Rosa, please continue.
Hello, every participants. Thank you for organizing such a great conference. If renewable energy program receives the investment, it will promote investment in renewable energy technologies. Henceforth, this investment will lead to expand international cooperation to facilitate access to clean and sustainable energy, research and technology, including renewable energy technologies. The promotion and facilitation of environmentally sound technologies regulates by United Nations Framework Convention Climate Change 1992. In 2007, the Bali Action Plan was adopted, which decided to enhance action on technology development and transfer to support action on mitigation and adaptation. Climate change mitigation technologies include different groups of technologies divided by area of application. One of them is a group of energy supply that consists of the most prominent being wind, geothermal, concentrated solar energy, biomass, biogas, and hydrogen systems. According to the World Intellectual Property Organization Global Challenge Reports, key areas for climate change mitigation technologies are biofuels, solar thermal energy, solar photovoltaic energy, and wind energy. Renewable, yes, this slide, thanks. Facilitation of access to renewable energy technology, energy efficiency, and cleaner fossil technology will lead not only to implementation of SDG7 and SDG13, as well as the international conventions on climate change. The whole, the renewable energy technologies are regulated by different international mechanism. One of them is the technology facilitation mechanism, which was launched by Agenda 2030 Agenda on Sustainable Development, which is composed of United Nations Interagency Task Team on Science, Technology, and Innovation for Sustainable Development Goals, collaborative multi-stakeholder forums on science, technology, and innovation for SDGs, and online platform. And also we see under the WIPO, World Intellectual Property Organization, they have the management for sustainable technology, WIPO Green, and IRENA launched the International Standards and Passion in Renewable Energy, IRENA Inspire. It is the platform for renewable energy passions, protection of passions. Also, the next slide, please. We should show the progress of the implementation of these Sustainable Development Goals. In the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals Report 2020, the share of renewable energy in total final energy consumption reached 17.3% in 2017, up from 7% in 2015 and 16.3% in 2010. This growth was driven primarily by increased consumption of modern renewables, which rose from 8.6% in 2010 to 10.5% in 2017. The practical implementation of the Sustainable Development Goals raises questions that can delay and complicate the process of achieving them. The COVID-19 pandemic is highlighting the urgent need for affordable and reliable energy, for hospital and health facilities to treat patients, for communities to pump clean water and access vital information, and for out-of-school children to learn remotely. At the same time, the crisis is surging to time efforts toward SDG7. Disruptions in supply chains could wreak havoc on energy services, and decline incomes could limit people's ability to pay for them. Besides, deterring oil prices are likely to discourage growth in renewables. The next slide, please. Nearly all countries have adopted various national programs and strategies for support, develop, and spread the use of renewable energy sources. According to Renewable Energy Network for 21st century, around 21st, 166 countries have national targets for renewable energy in power. Government subsidies for renewable energy sources have become one of the subjects of trade disputes for World Trade Organization's dispute settlement body. On the slide, they have 8 cases which were committed in this WTO DSP. This impacts the development of clean energy technologies in the context of fulfilling other World Trade Organization's obligations, and thus extends on dependence on fossil fuels and consequently the increase in greenhouse gas emissions. The practice of settlement the renewable energy sources disputes in World Trade Organization dispute settlement body for states will have negative consequences for the development of renewable energy sources globally, which may lead to a slowdown achievement of SDG7 and SDG13 and implementation of the goal of 2015 Paris Agreement on climate change to keep the global average temperature much lower than 2 degrees Celsius above the pre-industrial levels. Next slide, please. And on the basis of the above, we conclude that ways of interaction of SDG7 and SDG13 are very different and interdependent from each other. The achievement of these SDGs needs the same actions of state. The results of this activity will lead to successful implementation of 2030 Agenda and Paris Agreement on Climate Change 2015. A strong contractual and institutional framework has been created for this interaction, which operates not within include the framework of the above mechanism, but also take place within the framework of the Energy Charter Treaty, Renewable Energy Agency, International Energy Agency, World Bank, World Intellectual Property Organization. We believe that this framework will serve as an excellent coherent framework for achieving the 2030 Agenda. Thank you for your attention.